leaving trash behind, drinking a 12-pack while they're unloading somebody's stuff into a storage unit, stealing all of our equipment, even making customers. I had storage clients who came in and said, hey, I know you're closing at 5. Would you mind staying after hours? I'll pay you. I don't want to be here alone with my movers. And I was like, I didn't really know what the industry was like. So
this is literally the wild, wild west out there you were witnessing.
Welcome to Movified Wednesdays. Let's go. Welcome to Movified Wednesdays.
Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmons and Ellis Moving and Storage, located in beautiful, frosty, yet sunny Vancouver, Canada. But I can't do this alone. It is Movified Wednesdays, which means my co-host, my one and only, Stephen Reed, is with me. What's up, Stephen?
Woot, woot, woot. What up? Just got literally off the plane, got home, got in my lab, and now I'm here with you from Arizona.
Stephen Reed couldn't do it alone. He backs up by being the owner of Big League Movers out in Memphis, Tennessee, along with On Deck Deliveries and
one more time,
ReadyRolls.com. Thank you.
This episode's going to be a banger, guys.
Aren't they
I
all?
Spent the week.
Aren't they all supposed to be bangers?
They are. Banger after banger after banger. But this episode's pretty cool. I was honored to speak this week. I went down to Phoenix. Poor me. I left 9-degree weather, to go hang out in Phoenix. I actually saw some rain in Phoenix, which I hear is rare. But, I got to spend some time with the, Arizona Mover Association and with some really heavy hitters, and got to spend a few days with, Justin here on the show. And I'm so excited to have him because a lot of people don't know this. This guy's working his heart out for our industry, and I wanted to shed some light on it. He's been too busy for us to even get him on the show to shed some light on it, but he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot for his state. He's teaching other movers. He's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. He's working with ATA, and I'm just excited to kind of showcase what Justin does for the industry. So, Justin, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit there in your background of what you do for our listeners who don't know.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here. You guys are just lifting up the industry with awesome topics every week. So thank you very much for that. And awesome content. But yeah, myself, so, I've been an independent mover since 2005. I started the company pretty young, was not a mover, was not a second generation or coming from, the moving industry, had not ever worked as a mover, literally just decided to start the moving business, which is not uncommon, as I've found through talking to people here. But, we're now in our 21st year. Happy to share more about that as we go and how we got to this point. But now,
so did you buy another location, or did you just bootstrap some cash and jump in this thing and say, let me figure it out?
Literally, I did not have. I think I might have had $1,000 in the bank. I mean, there was no bootstrapping cash. I was 23 years old. I was single. I shared a house with a few buddies. My dad was a heavy chassis mechanic, so he could work on moving trucks. So that was kind of nice. So I literally came from the self-storage world. So I worked in self-storage, saw a lot of terrible companies come through our facilities. And so whether they were leaving trash behind, drinking a 12-pack while they're unloading somebody's stuff into a storage unit, stealing all of our equipment, even making customers. I had storage clients who came in and said, hey, I know you're closing at 5. Would you mind staying after hours? I'll pay you. I don't want to be here alone with my movers. And I was like, I didn't really know what the industry was like. So to me, this was
literally the wild, wild west out there you were witnessing.
So I just thought, I've always been taught to treat people like you'd like to be treated and do what you say you're going to do. And I was younger and liked physical work. So just started kind of taking on what I could handle, doing some small moves I had a little open 6x8 trailer, would do some loads and unloads, labor only. And then once I kind of got serious, wrote a little business plan, talked to the storage company I worked for. They put up our flyers in all their stores, kind of gave us our start. They also rented us trucks really, really cheap. I think when I started, I paid $40 a day and 8 cents a mile, which is like
me
incredible.
Too. Similar story. Yeah.
So I couldn't. So after that,
man, if I could only get that back, I wouldn't have one truck in my fleet.
100%. Yeah, and even then, I was in a hurry to buy a truck, more for my pride, right? I wanted to show up with a truck that had my name on it. So we bought a truck, and I bought an old International 444, paid that thing off as fast as I could. 2005, I bought it in November of '05. So I started in May of '05 and bought our first truck in November of '05.
So that was an immediate goal. Like, I need to put money back and get this
100%.
sucker going.
Yeah, had to pay it off before it broke down, which didn't take very long. If you had one of those trucks, they were, the 466s were good, the 444s were junk. But anyway, I didn't know that. I just bought the first truck that I could get approved for. So, yeah.
And by the way, we got a great episode last week about mechanics and what trucks not to buy, what trucks to buy. So check that out, guys.
It came out 2 weeks ago for sure. Yeah,
Mark's Mechanic.
It's what's even great is shout out to ATI Truck Repair, because they messaged me this morning saying, man, the amount of exposure we're already getting by resharing that video and episode, we already have so many companies reaching out going, man, I got to get my trucks in. Oh, I got to do some servicing and everything else.
I need to be a better partner. Yeah.
Look, before we let Justin just kind of run through everything, this pre-trip is brought to you by Movified Masterminds. I love it. Steven just went full force on there. You know what? And guys like Steven, guys like myself, and especially someone like Justin, where we all started in the early 2000s, if we would have had this type of mastermind group, we'd have skyrocketed our businesses tenfold already. So shame on you that are not being part of it now, because you have such a great opportunity if you're trying to grow your business. This is where we learn about growth, leadership, long-term impact, and this is exactly the right episode for it, because some moving companies kind of grow quietly, but others build something bigger than themselves. And just in time with Justin, I mean, this is kind of where this episode's all about. You guys just got a quick 3-minute overview of how fast things can turn around, where you see something that's wrong in the industry and you're like, shit, I could probably do this myself. I can probably do it way better. You kind of took us back, Justin, to the very beginning. Valuable. Well, it's crazy, right? I mean, I always used to joke with people saying, look, we don't send pirates to your house. Right. And a lot of the times, especially early 2000s, I mean, everybody was kind of running amok. There was so many moving companies.
You were riding that Pirates of the Caribbean wave.
Oh, it's great. It's who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Eye patch, gold tooth, all of it.
You were inspired.
I was inspired for sure. It was, when you think back at it, Justin, we all three of us have very similar stories where we're like, look, we're going to start something off. Let's figure it out. I remember when I started working for the small moving company, I was dumbfounded by just the incompetence, by just how things were run. But there was nobody really to lean to, right? You're just kind of all right, let's how does this work? How do we make this work? You kind of made yourself a game plan. How old were you at that time? 23.
Same year, 23. That's when I started.
Kind of kicking in. I was 25, 24. Yeah, all around. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it's our early 20s midlife crisis. We're just
it was. We're going to dedicate ourselves to a crazy industry.
That's right.
That was the real business plan.
Oh, for sure. What made you come up with the name?
Yeah, and actually, we almost didn't. I had a buddy who actually helped me. We called him the lamp carrier when he first started. That's all he was good for, was bringing out lamps and pillows from the house. He was a friend of mine, but he's a smart guy, and he was helping me kind of write the business plan. And we're thinking about
Sounds like me as a mover.
Well, there you go. But anyway, we were just tossing around names, and he literally goes, "How about just in time?" And I was like, "That's the dumbest thing I ever heard." And then we just did it. And so,
well, it's a great play on your name.
Yeah,
play on your name.
Yeah,
I was driving this morning to the office and thinking about this episode, and I was like, man, when I bring up the conversation about business names and choosing a name, I really just want that moving company to come up with always late movers, and then just have that whole sense of, if we show up late, it's like a free pizza. We'll give you if we're I don't know.
Did you ever have a guarantee like that with the name? Or are you really adamant about being on time?
Absolutely not, and I'll share a little story about that. So we are just in time moving, not just on time moving, right? There's a big difference, and that. So if you look at our logo, back in the day, we had the time on the clock, the guy set it to 7:10 because I used to dispatch our team at 7 a.m. every morning, but I would usually arrive about 7:10 because I was always a little bit late. So by the time I get there, my philosophy was they're ready to go, they're lined up, everything's good to go. And so they had the time set to 7:10 on this just to and it's not anymore, but just to kind of poke fun at me. But I have gotten better over the years. I think I'm more punctual now, and we expect our teams to be on time. But we still set an arrival time at the customer's home from like 7 to 8 a.m. So it gives us a little bit of leeway in there, right? So we don't have to be there right at 7 o'clock. But yeah.
Before we ever started using a moving CRM, someone asked me, could you 10x what you're doing right now with the current systems and processes you have in place? And I said no. And so he was like, well, then you need to just pull the trigger on the software. And then I saw Smart Moving and it was game over.
Austin joined thousands of moving owners on Smart Moving in 2021. Since then, he's more than doubled his business.
And I always compare Smart Moving to Apple products. It's just so simple, so easy to use, and that's really what's allowed my team to scale and now have 2 branches. And last year we scaled Central Coast Moving over 50% growth.
If you're ready to turn your moving company into a machine that drives profit, not chaos, try Smart Moving.
Hey everyone, Matty Mailers here, the guy who pioneered handwritten letters for the moving industry. Why? Because my competition at my moving company was using the same stock postcards as me, and my mailing company didn't care. So I created a better way. Here's some mind-blowing results in July. Miracle Movers Utah closed $93,000 using our handwritten letter strategy. With our campaigns, you can forget about the guessing games. You get a trackable phone number, daily photo proof, an incredible design team, and I'm also included. All letters stop at me for approval before they ever leave our facility. Right now, Movified listeners get 1,000 golden tickets stuffed in our genuine handwritten letters completely free. Plus, I'm going to throw in bulk realtor data for up to 5 counties. What are you waiting for? Moving Letters AI. Stop competing, start dominating.
And that's a strong recommendation, guys. When I first started, I was killing myself to make sure everybody got there on time. And it's like, why am I not just doing that hour window? Trucks are going to have a problem that we have to fix in the pre-trip. Things are going to happen. And no business ran away.
No, and it makes you look better when you show up. Like if you set a 7 to 8 arrival window and you arrive at 7, that kicks things off the right way, right? The customer knows you're on the way. I'm sure that most of us use a notification system when our trucks are heading that direction, and at that point they know you're going to be there on time. That's good. But if something does happen, you've got that window if you need it. So
one of the big things we implemented before good CRM systems started coming out was that our drivers, I always used to say, look, you have a helper that's sitting right beside you. So hand them your phone, let them call the customer, and teach him. And we used to teach the helpers going like, oh, hi, Mrs. Jones, we're en route, whether there's a traffic or you showed up late to work and you got to get going. Oh, there's just a little bit of traffic on the way to your house. We should be there between like 9 and 9:15, right? Because to me, even having that window gap, as long as you have that communication with your customer, that's huge, because guess what happens at 9:05? They're phoning the office and they're pissed off. They're already set off. Where's my movers? Where's my guys? And now you have to phone the guys. You got to try and find out where they are. This is obviously way before you had ELD readers and Samsara and Geotab and stuff, where you're just hoping for the best, going, dude, do these guys stop by their house, to go pick something up? Or are they sitting at a convenience store? Or, there's endless stories. Did they get into an argument on the way to the job and now one of the guys hopped off and now they're fighting outside? Like,
wow. I was talking to a gentleman in Arizona, Roger, Justin. He was telling me about, he was talking about pre-cell phones and how timing was so different there. And you send somebody out and the customer's calling you and like, they're on the way, and then they call you back an hour and a half later, and you're like, I don't know where they're at either, I hope they're not fighting at a gas station or something.
That speaks to the industry, and one of the reasons that we try to lift it up, because people are so jaded and scarred, and like they've had bad experiences. So the minute that anything goes a little bit awry, they're on the edge of their seat and they're pissed, Yeah. So,
and I always teach people, because like we are a pleasing culture and a pleasing industry. Like, guys, don't set yourself up for failure. Kind of like what Mark said. Don't set yourself. If you don't know, don't set an expectation of 9, because you're giving them an expectation, and they're going to call you again right at 9, and they're stressed out. So if you don't know, don't raise your bar. Under promise, over deliver in that situation. Don't. If you're broke down, don't say, you know what, I'm going to figure this out within the hour. Right? Say, hey, it's going to look like the afternoon. I'm going to let you know as soon as I know. Right? And
So
same message.
So you go ahead, you buy your first truck, you're kind of getting things going. When did you start to realize that this could actually just be something a little bit more than any other moving company?
Well, I've always kind of taken it as it's come. So I didn't really, we were just fortunate to do good work, and I found some good people along the way. Many of them are still with us to this day. The first mover I ever hired, somebody with actual moving experience, is still with us to this day. I had a cab driver. This is before Uber, and so I had a cab driver after a night out at a bar. Took me home. He happened to be an Allied driver over the road for 16 years. He was just taking a little break from moving and driving a cab. And I said, hey, if you're ever looking, you're ever in town and have a day free, I'd love to, come work for us. Just even part time. He's our warehouse manager and on our leadership team now, but 18 years later. So that's the kind of stuff that to me, and we'll talk more about this, but it's about your people, right? And that's something that I cherish and how you take care of them. But I guess when I realized I think it's just because we kind of, instead of letting it come to us, we started going after it, if that makes sense, right? So instead of just, because people would ask us that work here, hey, did you ever think we'd grow this big? Or this was as we were getting 2 trucks, 3 trucks, 5 trucks, 10 trucks. Like, no, I just kind of took it as it came to a certain point. And I think that's when we started, when I was taught that you need to establish wealth for your moving company by acquiring real estate, because your moving company in and of itself is never going to have that much value. And that may or may not be true, but I kind of took that to heart and said, yeah, because without me, this company probably can't run. This was years ago, right? And so there's not much value here. So we need to build wealth. So when we put our eyes on buying a little warehouse and starting to establish our roots, that we owned our building and owned a place for us to kind of have our foundation, that's when it kind of got real, because at that point we were in debt. So there was no more, I hope this works out. I owed $800,000 to the bank, and we had to find a way to pay it off, so.
How many trucks are you running now, Justin? Sorry.
Thanks, Steven. we both have the same question.
Between 20 and 25 trucks. So right now we're around 20 trucks. We'll get to 25 hopefully in the busy season here.
And how many warehouses do you have?
2. We've got 2 warehouses that we own, and they're not huge by any stretch of the imagination. This building I'm in now is our main admin and warehouse. It's about a 10,000 square foot building. Our Phoenix location is 15,000 feet, and then because of the network that we have, we've got access to other movers' warehouses. We kind of can share space, and so we can scale up or down as needed. But our 2 locations are about 25,000 feet total.
I just spent 3 days with Justin. Now, as soon as I got off the plane, we're talking again. And I just want to say this is so impressive. He's got 20 trucks running. He had, 6 team members with us all the 3 days?
Oh, from our team?
Yeah, 6.
Well, yeah, 6.
Maybe?
We had an operations manager, a sales manager, our admin team was there, and we had business development.
And Jess, your EA's off. You told me.
She is, and our COO, George. He was there. So,
he was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how things went. Hopefully, it went okay. Because
I
I'm just
just wanted to say that. Well, I hope everything went well. But it's so impressive that y'all were able to focus on this event and not the 20 trucks you're running in February. So I just want to say props to you as a leader.
I appreciate that, and that's a good point. Like I thought about that a little bit before. I was like, well, but honestly, that's something I've got to take back and celebrate, because everything's going pretty well. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Justin's like, don't worry. Those 2 days, we only had 4 trucks out. So.
Yeah, exactly. It is February.
Yeah,
I'm not sure we had.
It is
Yeah. So
when growth started coming. Yeah. Well, sorry, Mark. But when growth started coming fast, what system or decision helped you keep control instead of chaos? Because all I witnessed was control.
Well, I think for us, part of it was having it an ad like having an overhead, like having a team that we could rely on, right? Like, so we were building that up from the beginning. Like, the biggest jump for me, the hardest thing to do was when you first start, the only payroll you have is the people who are moving furniture or moving for you, right? So if you're not making money, they're not making money, right? So build labor, thank you. So when we started adding our first salesperson, and then we added an admin and another salesperson and things like that that cost us money even when we weren't busy. That's when we had to make sure that we were doing things to keep the phone ringing. And we've always been, I never did paid advertising or things like that when we were smaller, and it was the early days. We did a lot of just networking, pounding the pavement, and just making the phone ring, right? And having somebody available to answer that phone. So I think what made it work for us was by the time we experienced solid growth, we had a core group of about 5 people who had been here since the beginning that knew how to keep things running, right? And it's hard to go out and just find those people when you need them. So we were lucky in the fact that we had them as we grew, and when we were ready to grow, we went from there. But on top of that, I think what really, as we've gotten in the more recent years and gone from maybe 10 trucks to 25 trucks, let's say, that was the only reason that happened was because we got into learning about the industry through a mastermind group that we were a part of and through AMSA back in the day. I'd always kept my head down and never knew how to handle, never just kind of had our blinders on, right? So when I saw what other companies were doing and they started sharing how they do it, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just took what I learned from them and incorporated that into our business.
So systems that you recognize other companies were using?
100%. But I thought this thing where I didn't want to be like, I kind of started this business to not be corporate and not just be like, this is how we do things and, be rigid and kind of give people the benefit of the doubt. But I had to find a balance because you can't operate that way forever where you just kind of are freewheeling and just let everybody, you've got to set structure up and set processes up and so on and so forth. So
Can you share some examples of when you start to realize that?
Yeah, I had a salesperson who I hired who was awesome, right? Like he'd book 20 jobs a day by himself, inside sales, answering the phone, filling up our calendar. Well, he had a hard time making it to work by 8 a.m. So we started letting him come in at 8:30. Then he couldn't make it by 8:30. So I said, okay, you're working 11:30 to 6:30. Then he was late at 11:30. He obviously was a family member. He was my cousin or a cousin from my...
Everybody listening to this is thinking of somebody.
Yep. And I was like, I didn't know what to do because I needed him. I didn't have somebody else that was lined up. This was, 10, 12 years ago and maybe a little more than that. And I needed him, but it was setting a terrible example for our company because anybody else that was here thought, why is he allowed to operate this way? And we're not, number one. And number two, it just was not professional, as far as running an organization. So that's when I was like, okay, we're going to start to set expectations and standards and not put up with bullshit, quite honestly. And so there are things that we will bend on, but also we've got certain things that we need to have in place to make sure we can all be successful. So. And
Thanksgiving is still okay then in your household? Being your cousin?
Well, if I'm being honest, I haven't seen him since I haven't seen him for a few years. So it's good. But and I told him when I had to let him go, I was like, look, I love you, I'll support you, but you've got issues that are preventing you from being a productive member of this company, and we just can't put up with that any longer. And we gave him chance after chance after chance. Now I don't do that. Something I learned.
Sounds like you're willing. Yeah, sounds like you're willing and tried.
Oh, definitely. But I learned from Derek. At Firefighting's Finest, you probably know him pretty well, Derek Potter.
Yeah, shout out Derek. Yeah. Another episode.
Shout out Derek.
Yep. Yeah. I heard him at an AMSA conference I went to back in like 2018, 2019, up on a panel just discussing moving. So I forget what it was, an independent session, but he goes, the one thing I've learned in this business is the first time you think about firing somebody, fire them. Because you're going to regret it and you're going to eventually fire them anyway if you wait, So I took that to heart, and that actually kind of got the fire burning of like, we need to be serious. Like we've grown to a point where we're just not me and my buddies going and moving somebody down the road. Like we've got a serious business here. So, yep.
When do you start, you kind of talked about making sure the systems are in place. You start attending these AMSA conferences, understanding what other large moving companies are doing. At what point did you, when you started getting to the 10, 12 trucks, because you know how that difference is. I always tell people, it's like, oh, that 5, 6 truck operation, great, great. I'm doing like $1 million, 2 million. I'm running it smooth. You start growing up to the 10, 15, you're now a whole different ball game, whole different operations. What were some of the big main hires that you start to realize going, like, I'm the bottleneck. I got to kind of take a step back here. I need these people in place in order for us to be consistent and see that growth?
Great question. So there's a fine line between being too lean and being heavy, right? And being kind of top heavy. So for us, it was, my first goal was to get myself off the truck. Someone taught me, another mover back in the day, if you're on the trucks consistently, you're wasting that is not the best use of your time, right? Like, you're never going to be able to, can't work on exactly, right? So, but then I got out of that and I got into where I was handling like walkthroughs and operations, right? And still handling payroll and still so then I think what happened next was getting somebody who could fully handle, just one person that could handle answering the phones. And we had another, so like a receptionist, salesperson, basically, that takes me from answering every phone call. I'd be sitting in a truck driving cross country with a notepad in one leg and answering the phone with the other, like totally not safe, right? So that had to change. So we had to get somebody to do that. And then just kind of taking off hats, right? Because you wear so many hats. So the fact that I could delegate these hats, for us, when we got to that 10 truck mark, it was like basically about 4, what I would say, admin staff. So you've got a salesperson, we've got someone doing walkthroughs for us, we've got a operations manager, and we've got an admin manager who runs all the back end, all the payroll, all the compliance, all the HR, all that stuff, basically, right? And so those 4 areas for us kind of established like our base and gave us room to then expand on that and kind of grow from there. That was the idea. Today, so to be honest, we've implemented EOS at our business about 9 months ago. I felt like I got to a point where...
Who was your implementer again that was speaking?
Oh, Joe Kozabowski. So,
Joe Kozabowski. Yeah, he was very impressive. His speech was great.
He's a good dude. He's from the moving industry. So he's been around it for 30 years. His wife works in the moving industry, but he's an EOS implementer. And he basically got us to a point where, or is getting us to a point where I'm able to I was at my limit of what I was capable of doing, right? I tried to initiate a few new things in the business, management-wise, leadership-wise, and it wasn't sticking. And I just felt like we needed our next phase of growth, and to get there, it was to do that. So my day right now is big picture stuff. Like I'm looking at just completing our budget for the year and forecasting that and seeing how that's going to look going into next year. Am I still out of the business completely? No, I don't know that anybody can answer that they are. Like, I still have to get involved in some of the day-to-day stuff.
His name is Eric Works.
True. Yeah, true. Yep. And maybe
he's cracked the code.
I guess so. Yeah. But I mean, even this morning, I had a client who, that I did a walkthrough for because one of our surveyors was gone last week. And so I did the survey for her. We booked the move. Well, I guess we packed a diamond ring we weren't supposed to pack into a box, which we had to find. So I had to get involved in that. And we did it. Truth be told, I didn't even get the message to our team before they had already solved it, So for us, that was...
I'll say this, Justin. Nobody's going to care to find that diamond ring more than you, though. I mean,
100%. That's true. Yeah. But so most of my day now is hopefully looking at how we can get profitable and be more profitable, and things that we can do big picture wise. Like, right now I'm trying to figure out how we can get into our next building that we're looking at getting into, and so on. So there's always things like that, more strategical, big picture things, and get out of the way. Like, we've realized that you've got a good team and let them run, like let them do their thing, but be there for them. So
if you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we had 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
Sometimes we can get on here and talk a little like high level, and so I just kind of want to break it down. Mark usually does a good job, but he's excited. He's going to the. I see he's got a little list of questions he's ready to hit. But for those of us who don't know, what is EOS?
Entrepreneurial Operating Systems, I believe. Basically, it's a management structure that we build into your business that gives you just a way to provide leadership and management, learn the differences of the two, operate on a 90-day cycle where you're making incremental, significant changes to your business on a set 90-day structure. You're setting rocks, which are goals, right? So you're setting 90-day goals from the top of your team to the newest helper that you have as a mover, on your team. You have the right meeting pulse, so you're not having meetings just for the sake of meetings, but you've got a weekly meeting, you've got a quarterly meeting, and there it is. And you're
Read this book if you're interested, guys. Just to throw that out there. It's a short read. Yeah.
Great book. Yep. And then you're talking about getting on the right meeting pulse, setting goals, setting a scorecard, so you're measuring what matters to your business, and then it's measuring that and looking how to get better going forward. So goals, scorecard, meetings, and then living your core values, right? You're going to set your core values with your company, and you're going to hire and fire based on those. You're going to reward and discipline based on those. So
thank you. That's a good breakdown. I hear all the time, like, systems, people think of, smart moving. So EOS is actually how Justin's organization operates, how they communicate, how they work on problems, right? It's the system in which they function. So sorry, Mark, I wanted to point that out, just break it down a little bit, because it's such a...
No, it's great.
I didn't want to skip over that. Yeah.
No, we talk about EOS all the time on the show, but it's I don't think we've ever really kind of broken down why people do EOS and what's the benefit of it. I also highly recommend checking out a book called Systemology. Also a fantastic book it's great. And you also can, they have a lot of online guidebooks when you sign up for it that they can send you. And it's just about teaching you how to really systemize your business, and everything gets broken down. So definitely recommend reading that book. Justin, it's kind of midway through the show. I like to do a thing called Dolly Dash. If you've listened to a Wednesday episode, it is me explaining the questions for about 5 minutes and you getting 30 seconds to answer them, as that's how Stephen Reed says. But I will try and give you these questions fast. It's hard-hitting, short answers, whatever you got. What's one thing you wish you knew before scaling?
More revenue is not more profit.
100%. I hope everybody's... Do you taking note of that, everybody? I mean, we've talked about it on the show.
That's a clip there.
Should. Oh, yeah, for sure. When you realized you needed help protecting your time, right? Big Dan Martell follower, love Buy Back Your Time. Especially as moving company owners, we realize, we got to do this, we got to do that, right? We're not just saving money, but we start to realize, wait a second, I actually need an EA. I need a VA in my place. When do you start realizing that you needed that help?
From a business standpoint, it's when I would come into my office with my only objective being to clean up my inbox for the day. And by 4:30 that day, I've maybe looked at 3 emails, right?
Somehow it's gotten bigger, right?
Exactly, right. And I had 40 more come in. So that was one from a business standpoint. From a family standpoint, it was going home, I would say angry and stressed out, when my kids ask, hey, how was your day, Dad? And I'd be like, do you really want to know how my day was? Or do you want me to lie to you and tell you it was great? You know what I mean? And so that's something where I thought, I need to change how I'm managing my time, because I don't want to live life where I'm just in this constant, a grind is good, but a grind with a negative outlook. I needed to get out of that rut, basically. So
my son now tells me he always goes to me, instead of how was your day, he always goes, make any big deals today? So he's like, what do you mean? He's like, making any big deals? I was like, dude, sure, yes, of course, all day, every day. What's one task that you'd never take back from your assistant?
Managing my calendar. I know that sounds basic, and it's one of the basic functions that she has, but the fact that she gets everything on my calendar, things that I would never put on there and then maybe or maybe not remember, I need someone to keep me organized, and so that task has been wonderful.
And if my EA Daryl is listening to this, Daryl, I hope you're taking notes, because sometimes I always have to go, dude, I don't see this in my calendar. And I remind him.
I'll give a shout out to Jess, right? Justin?
Jess, yep. She's awesome, man. We love her. She's passionate about just-in-time moving, which is awesome. So, yep.
And then I'll also give a shout out to Daryl. Poor Daryl. It's a lot to deal with your calendar, Mark. You're the busiest guy in moving.
You've got a busier calendar than me.
This guy. Oh, for sure.
But shout out to Daryl always.
Shout out to Daryl. Poor Daryl. What's one mindset that carried you through some of the hardest seasons?
It's going to sound bad, but looking at shitty moving companies and saying, if they can do it, I can do it, and just having that competitive edge where there's no reason they've got 20 trucks, they rip people off. I know it. We're going to find a way to make it work here and do it the right way.
This isn't part of the question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. We're all family men. We all got young kids. What's your advice to other moving company owners that have kids, wife, all of that? Not kids in their 20s and 30s. Guys, hey, piss off. We get it. You already did that. You figured it out. Or you probably never saw your kids back then. But for those that have young kids now, what's your advice on giving yourself a good, having that balance?
Well, number one, you have to take it, because if you let your moving company consume you, it will. And I did that for a long time, where literally, and you're not going to dig yourself out of it. I think where I learned that was my father-in-law one day said something to me. He goes, it's all going to be there tomorrow. You can. So I literally reach a point in my day where I just go, I'm done. That's enough. I'm heading home, and then that's it. And you've got to prioritize that, because you can dig yourself out of a hole if you skip some things at work. I'm not the best, most organized person even now, but all that stuff is still there, and it'll be there tomorrow. And my kids won't be. So you got to prioritize that.
And how many kids do you have?
3 boys, and I'm on the back end, to be fair. They're not really young. I do have a couple older, but I've got a 15-year-old at home still, who I'm making the most of the few years I have left of him before he moves on and grows up and goes away.
Nice. But they also were probably heavily involved in, you were dealing with all the stress as they were younger, growing the business, doing everything you can do, right? So.
My 2 older sons work in the business still, which I am trying. One of them, I'm trying to push him out, but we'll talk about that later. So, yeah.
Next episode.
What's his name?
Yeah, exactly.
What's his name?
Alex. So he's my oldest son. He's 26. Great kid, but he's not a mover, and he needs to blossom. And I don't want all my kids being in the business as their only job. They need to get out there and experience life a little bit. They can always come back, but I need them to get out and experience life.
Something you learned, right?
100%.
Alex, if you're watching this episode, you're fired. No, I'm joking. All right, bless your heart. He's like, who the fuck is this guy? This token Canadian guy. Listen, Dolly Dash is always brought to you by BHC Insurance, your trusted insurance provider since 1915. Ask Steven, ask myself about it. Call Trey Scallion at 501-278-0105 or visit them at bhca.com. These guys are there to help you pull the levers where they need to be. They want
Speaking
to
of lessons, insurance is always a lesson in our in all of our
doesn't
businesses.
Stop. It doesn't stop. You call Trey and ask him to run the Movified strategy for your company. We've had people reach out saying they did call Trey, and it's been a huge success, saved them thousands of dollars. So make sure that they can help you with your insurance renewals. You know, it's a new year. I get it. You probably have all done it, but it's always great to ask for a second opinion and find out if you are overpaying and need to pivot. So give Trey a call today. All righty.
He was speaking on the black hole. I'm going to throw you off the game plan, but he was speaking on the black hole that moving is. So I wanted you. It's actually pretty good because on this episode when it goes launches, it's going to be day 49. So will you mind running through, Mark, on what you wrote for day 49, the moving mindset, which also was talked about a good amount this week in the Arizona.
I appreciate it. The amount of shout outs for all those that are following this book. Big shout out actually to Nick Friedman from College Hunks. He DM'd me. Yes, he does DM me.
He goes down in the DMs.
He goes down in the DMs and said how he got copies of this book and sent it to some of his largest franchises at College Hunks. And they now actually do a morning call and they go over the daily devotional on here. So it's fantastic. I really appreciate it. It touches my heart. Thank you so much for all those that have reached out to me and said how well this has changed them. But day 49, man, this is kind of what we talked about, Justin. Like, you know, your attitude sets the temperature. A joyful heart is good medicine, right? We talk about culture, the right people in the companies. So a leader's attitude spreads faster than any policy. If you walk into the warehouse frustrated, stressed, or negative, your team feels it immediately. But a joyful, steady attitude lifts the entire atmosphere. I mean, the writing's on the wall. My challenge to everybody that here, lead with joy today. Not fake optimism, but real joy rooted. Choose a joyful response in one situation today, something that normally irritates you. So if you got something, that's my challenge to everybody today, right? And then ask yourself, what attitude am I bringing into my company today?
Fight that grumpy old man.
There's moving companies that I've been to. You know, if you go to that warehouse door, a lot of us know about it. We've seen it. We probably do it. We have a mirror, you know, right when you leave the door in the morning that says, this is what you look like today to your customer, right? So as a leader in our companies, and as we represent ourselves, how are we showing up? Are we going into the office high-fiving everybody? How's our attitude? Are we just irritated, going in super grumpy, right? We tell our guys not to show up and leave the job, right? Leave what's happening at home at the door because you got to represent your customer. We as leaders also need to represent that as well too, that we need to stop, drop everything, and come in because our attitude is just like a domino effect, right? So lead with a joyful heart, have good attitude, and the rest of the crew, smiles are contagious, right? If you're smiling, why do you think everybody loves Stephen Reed, man? That guy's always smiling. Ask Nikhil Murdoch, when I first met him for Murdoch's Moving Stores, shout out to Nikhil. That guy has $1 million smile. Like, you cannot smile back and want to hug this guy. He's one of my best friends because he just has a contagious smile. So, and he prides himself on that smile. That guy's always carrying around floss, always brushing his teeth.
And I can tell you, because there's been times like what you just said really rings home, because there's a lot of times that something will happen. It's not a home thing, it's a work thing. Maybe we really messed something up, or we had a customer who's just pissed, or whatever the case is, or we dropped the ball. Like, if you let that affect you to the point that you're giving off attitude to your whole team, it ruined, like, the whole day in the office is ruined, right? The whole, like, it's, and then the next day, inevitably, every time I've been like that, something really cool happens that makes you kind of reset and go, man, we're really blessed. Like, we've got a really good team, a really good organization. You know, we're going the right direction. And then you instantly, at least I do, feel terrible about how I was yesterday or earlier when I was not given. And I've actually come back and apologized to our team. Hey, look, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I didn't mean to come off. I know I gave a lot of attitude yesterday, whatever the case was. You know, I'll do a better job of being thankful and you know, for what we have built here and what you guys do. So, yep, definitely. So
be human.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
We recently hired Ready Rolls to help us with hiring some offshore help, some DAs. and they've done an amazing job. They found the perfect candidate for our company. Not only that, they helped answer the questions that we had about the process. Initially, hiring a BA can be a bit intimidating, but they answered all the questions. It's been an amazing experience. Our BA has been a huge part of our success thus far. We're actually in the process of hiring a few more right now. Definitely see them as being a key part of our growth and reaching our goals in 2025. And another game changer for our company. I'm confident to be a game changer.
Visit ReadyRolls.com. There is now a better way to scale.
Well, guys, I got to say, I look forward to reading Mark's book every morning now. I got this big green book. I didn't know I was going to enjoy it as much as I do. And now, my wife knows, where's the big green book? Where's the big green book? I gotta do my daily exercise. So
shout out to Megan. You had it in Arizona. You had it on the table in Arizona. Yep.
So I did.
I need to get a copy of that. So I'll do that.
You get it on Amazon.
You got it. Yeah. You don't have an Audible version yet, do you, Mark?
You know what? Someone asked me that the other day too, and I, in my head, go, man, that's like 780 pages of me reading out. I will.
You know what you do is have somebody read, have a different mover or a different person read a chapter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
there you go. Delegate. That's a true delegate.
Or delegate and elevate.
Especially with AI these days, I'm just gonna go. No, man, I'm gonna get Morgan Freeman. I'm just gonna AI voice it and just change my voice to Morgan Freeman and. Yes, welcome to day one. Welcome to day one.
Well, I kind of wanted to frame this as Justin has two lives out in the moving industry a little bit. Right?
I love your transition, Steven. I was about to go into this one too. Yeah, go for it. You kick it off.
Yeah, just to be clear, Justin Tom's his business. That's his baby. That's what he's done. And now we're going to talk a little bit about AMSA, which is the Mover Association he founded. ASMA. Am I saying? Oh yeah, AMSA. I said you threw AMSA in earlier. But it's built that he built for the industry and built for his peers in his state, and those are two different hats. So I just kind of wanted to clarify. He also does this for our industry, and we'll kind of press on this in a little bit. But it's so much of his personal time that he gives our industry in a lot of different ways. And so again, appreciation. But I wanted to kind of go on this and say there's a big difference in the hats that he's wearing. So we're going to switch over to the other hat.
Cool.
So you just wrapped this up. Like this event literally just wrapped up this week.
We were at the Suns game last night.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, so jealous. What moment made you realize this is why we do this? Like this is so important that we don't have this. California has one, other states have it. Like why doesn't Arizona have one?
Well, I think it comes back to I was talking to a packing supply rep when we were first kind of getting this going. He'd come into our office, every so often and just touch base, try to sell us more packing supplies. And he said, I'm from Nevada, and what you guys do here is different than I see in Nevada or most other states I go to. Like you guys seem to talk to each other, and you've got a friendly kind of vibe, and you work together, right? This is before we had an association, just a few of us, different text threads and different groups. And so to me, I've always felt like, we need to work together and learn from each other. Because when we first started, there was I didn't join AMSA until, 2018 or something. I was probably more than 10 years in, and I didn't really do any moving groups or anything like that until later on. And so at first it was just trying to figure things out, right? And it just sucked. And so I had a couple other companies that I started talking to. We'd share some stuff over the years, documents and advice and stuff. And I like that, but it was very, very limited. So when I heard that, I just thought we should really build this up. We need to work together. Like a rising tide lifts all boats, right? That's very common cliche, but it's true. There's enough good work. There's enough work to go around. We are competing against the bad companies that don't have any interest in doing things the right way, that are making our industry look bad. And so we need to kind of lift each other up and bring whoever wants to come with us. But if you don't, that's fine. That's who the people are that we're trying to kind of eliminate,
Who were the first peers that you kind of approached with this idea?
So during COVID, kind of the way it formalized, we had a group text. It was myself, Josh from Muscular Moving Men, who I know you just had on pretty recently.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Shout out to Josh.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Love your warehouse.
He participated at our conference too. We did an Ask the Pros session. incredible information shared. I'll talk about that if we get to it, but that was awesome.
Did you make them do like a couple bicep flexes or some push-ups?
Aren't they always just flexed? I don't know.
They're always.
Yeah.
They're
okay.
always.
Yeah. So every muscle, he's constantly in a state of like, I'm envious. And the mustache that dude's rocking these days is incredible too. But
I know.
Anyway, but no. So it was myself, muscular, Camelback. I think we had creative moving and mentors moving on our chat, right? And so it was literally like, who's got gloves? Who's got masks? I bought 10 gallons of sanitizer. What do you guys consider? It was all this crap from COVID that we were just trying to work through at the time. And so that's when the idea came about through George to kind of formalize it and build this association up and say, especially because in our state, there is no regulation. There's no barrier to entry. There's zero anything to hold movers accountable or to give them guidance on how to become a good quality mover. Like I didn't even know you had to have interstate authority until I got pulled over by a cop in Texas and nearly put in jail. I had a gun drawn on me, that's a whole other story. But anyway,
no, go on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, to be honest, that was before we had like GPS. So I was using a map book, right? I'm on I-10.
It says E8. I'm at E8.
Well, yeah. While I'm driving, right? I'm in a Penske truck, and I'm not paying. I guess I'm not paying attention. I look up, and I'm on this cop's ass. Like I'm about to run into this cop. He's on the interstate, but he's going like 50 for some. I don't know why he's going slow. So just reactionary. I just went around him. Well, he lit me up, pulled me over, gun drawn. Get the fuck out of the car, or out of the truck. And he's like, "What is wrong with you? You almost hit me." And I go, honestly, I said, I'm going 65. I'm the slowest vehicle on the road. I looked down at my map book. I must not have realized I was coming up on you, whatever. By the end of it, we were friends. I told him my whole story. He showed me, what to do right next time and so on and so forth. But
Steven, now the guy works for him for the last 5 years.
And now he's our operations manager. No, but
basically, I like you.
That's right, yeah. But that's how I learned, like that I needed to have a DOT, like interstate authority. I wasn't trying to be a rogue mover, but so I just thought there'd be, as we got later on down the line, let's help the movers that are coming up. I'd see trucks come up into our state every year, different logos, different companies pop up in the summer and be gone by the winter, right? So the idea was let's get the good companies together and let's build up our industry. So
I love it.
Not just that though. You work. I know you have a truck with Move for Hunger, but you work pretty well with Move for Hunger and the association, right?
Yeah, that's something we brought in. Another byproduct of COVID, we started helping our local food bank, dedicating a truck to delivering food for them a couple days a week because they didn't have drivers that were able to do it. We've just kept it going. I think we're up over like 8 million pounds of food we've transported now since 2020. It's cool. It makes you feel good. It gives our guys purpose. Like they love providing that work. And so we just brought them into the association to kind of grow that and say, this is a mission that we all can give to. And I don't know, there's too much food in this country for half of it to go to waste and people to be hungry. So let's find ways to get it out there.
And since they've gotten involved, what do they do what particularly is unique about their involvement in your conference that I witnessed?
Oh, well, we've done a truck pull now the last couple of years. So
really, how was that?
It's cool, man. I love it.
That's awesome.
We basically just kind of raised some money. We have an event to end our conference where you can show up as an individual or bring a team. You get 10 people on a team, and you pull. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're pulling a 26-foot truck, 100 feet. Fastest time, you get 2 pulls. Fastest time wins and gets a championship belt. And so I got to give credit to Camelback Moving. They've won 2 years in a row. Just in Time Moving has finished second place. I am questioning the timing and the legitimacy of that, but
that might be why he didn't jump into this in the truck pull immediately. That was yesterday, so
it's true.
How do you?
It burns. It still burns.
How many meals have y'all provided from a couple of truck pulls that you've done?
Sorry. So we've raised in the last 2 years, just for the truck pulls, we've raised about $35,000, which equates to somewhere in the neighborhood of about 120,000 meals. So
that's amazing.
Bam.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep.
Justin, 2 back-to-back questions. One is I sit on the board for the Canadian Association Movers, which is like the MSC of
Yeah.
Canada.
Yep.
And
I love
it's
Nancy.
actually going to be
Shout out Nancy.
Shout out to Nancy. We love her.
Yep.
She loves my t-shirts.
Nice.
We are actually having it in Vancouver this year, and
Nice.
I'm part of the planning committee, and I'm going to be bringing this up. I love this idea, and I want to kind of kick this off and start it. I actually love to even do that on our golf tournaments as well too, because I put together a BC annual golf tournament, because I kind of want to put together a BC Movers Association, very similar to you, so we can talk off air about what does that look like, what does that take. But my question in regards to the truck pull is there a buy-in on whose truck it's going to be, or is it just a rental? How does that work? You get to pick your moving truck.
Well, you have a truck sponsorship, right? So that's one way you raise. So last year we were the truck sponsor, so we paid our truck sponsorship to have our truck be the truck that gets pulled. What we started was tradition is whoever wins has to be the truck sponsor the next year, right? So, which I think is a pretty cool thing to commit to if you get people to buy in. So that's what we did. So Camelback was the truck sponsor this year. Now my company was the rope sponsor, so we got to use our rope to pull their piece of crap truck. But anyway, no, that's just how we do it. So you can.
It's real competitive, Mark. It's real competitive. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of pride in it.
Yep.
And it's based on best time.
That's it. Yep. What I will tell you, if I can give you one piece of advice, I know you didn't ask. Get a timer that is a sensor, right? Like the combine, right? So you don't have people hand clicking. You need to have the exact timer. So
Steven, are you listening to this bitterness? There's some
bitterness. I know. I was just
so
in
competitive.
it. Chad was wearing 3 belts the last time I saw him. The picture I have in my head is he's got 2 belts on his shoulder and one on his waist.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Look, this has been really good. I want to kind of also tie on to here too. When you are leading an association like this, is there any competitors that are kind of, oh well, Justin's going to get all the inside, or yeah, he's making money off being part of because we're paying him to be part of this association, and now he's going to get the inside scoop of how we're running our businesses, because you know how that is all the time. Right? I mean, people used to say that to me when I was trying to do some stuff, and I'm like, guys, it should be all for sharing. But how was that process in the beginning? Because COVID, sure, hey, but now it's 2023. There's no more COVID. We're trying to do this association, and you're going, yeah, we're going to do some networking. We're going to do this, and we're going to share what we're doing. Yep. How has that been?
Yeah, so as far as the money thing goes, I did have a few companies as we're reaching out to people and saying, hey, we're starting an association, come to a meeting, join it. It's a couple $100 a year, whatever it is, right? And I've had a couple movers, ask me straight up, so how much are you taking off the top? What are you getting out of this? I mean, I understand the question, but nothing, from a money standpoint, this is costing me money, right? Because George is our secretary treasurer, but he also works for Just in Time Moving. He spends a lot of time while he's at work for the Arizona Moving Association, right? Which I'm 100% fine with. We print all the stuff for the association. We don't charge the association for it. We do all these things. There's no money coming into us. And so you can tell people that all day, but we were very transparent from the beginning. Here's our bank balance. Come to a meeting. We'll show you our finances, right? So you can see it, number one. Number two, you lead by example when it comes to sharing, right? Because I can't in good faith ask people to come to a meeting and share best practices and participate in our mentorship program, do all these things if I'm not doing it myself. So I led by sharing everything that I could with everybody from the start, because that's the only way you're going to get a little bit of vulnerability, I think, is if you show that, because it's different than a national association where maybe you're all in different markets and you're a little more open to sharing things. We've got to be concerned about, well, you're right in my backyard and now you know my secret sauce. If you were at our association conference last couple of days, I think Steven can attest to this, the amount of sharing of ideas, collaboration, working together was blew my mind. It was far and above what I was expecting. So even the Ask the Pros session where you've got 3 independents and a van line agent up on stage sharing openly about their struggles, about their wins, about what works, about what doesn't, to other movers who maybe are fresh into the industry or someone that they compete with every day. So I think it just comes from the way you lead and the way you share. So yeah.
I gotta say too, on the what people don't see on cost is your time. How many hours do you think you're giving this association?
The last month and a half, all of them pretty much, all the hours went to that. But no, it's generally speaking, it ebbs and flows, right? So we have our meetings like quarterly or in-person meetings, but I would bet you I spend probably anywhere from 5 to 15 hours a week. Average is probably 3 to 5 hours a week, something like that, where I'm just kind of giving it my time. Maybe we're recording a podcast or one of our vendor spotlights or something like that. But when we get into like planning season and certain times a year, I've got to have time available for it because things have to get done. And we don't have a admin team. We don't have a paid staff. We're trying to get a little bit of like work with our state legislature done. We don't have a lobbyist, so I'm making those meetings and making those appointments and doing those things. So it takes some time, but to be honest, I don't think about it. To me, it's not like I have to make that decision. It's what needs to be done. So we're going to get it done.
And the reality is for all those that are listening going, man, that's crazy. Justin can't do this alone without having the right people in place and then also having the right VAs to assist him from readyrolls.com.
.com.
100%.
But like you have to have this in place or you're going to burn out.
Yep.
Things are going to get missed. And then half the stuff is just half-assed, right?
Yep.
Like it's just, you're falling short everywhere. And then you can just have everybody standing at your office door going, we need your help.
Yeah.
Because the place is burning down. So you have to make sure things are organized. Don't take on another big task. People always go, Mark, like it's crazy. How are you doing all the stuff you do? And it's because you have to have the right people in place, the right cultures at everywhere, and you have to have the right team and people that you can rely on.
Yep.
That's
No
it.
doubt.
And delegate. See,
Delegate.
my audiobook. That audiobook is going to just be full of a bunch of movers.
Delegate. Hey, Justin,
That's
have
right.
you had any mentors or anybody help you out? They've been surprised that when you jumped into this association?
Well, yeah, as far as the association goes, Steve Weidecamp, California Movers Association, and also, he runs an organization called NICMA, National Council of Moving Associations. Nancy is a part of that with Canada.
Nice.
So that was critical for us. I mean, and actually all the different states kind of help, so open, willing to share their guidelines and how they do things and what works for them. And so Steve Weidecamp was the catalyst of that, and just kind of seeing what they're doing in California. They're the largest state association in the country. I think they've got, I don't know how many members, 550 members or something, maybe more than that. They've been around 107 years. They are top notch when it comes to, because the biggest thing when you start an association is, what's your purpose, right? I had movers ask me, like, what am I getting out of this? Why is it worth me to come to the meetings? Like, what are we doing as an association? And so that's what you need to figure out. And that's what I think we learned from California and from other states as well, part of the NICMA. But yeah, I mean, it was just, when I first think of it, it comes to mind of Stephen Weidecamp, Nancy from Canada, North Carolina was huge, Pam, Michigan, tons of them helping us out. So yeah.
Those are the guys behind the scenes. And I got shout out to Steve. I've been at 4 state associations this past 12 months, and
Wow.
I think he's been at every one of them, like with notes in hand, supporting everybody from different states. I didn't know he was in California and did that. I asked him, I said, I've seen you 4 times now. You mind if I ask what you do? And he was like, I run California. I'm here to see if I can make mine better and help them out. And I thought that's really cool. Really admirable.
Wow. Yep. He'd be my go-to if I was starting an association again. So, yep.
Before we depart, Justin,
I got 2 more too.
Do you have 2 more? Oh my goodness! Well, they're here. They're adding another 20 minutes now onto it. Buckle up, everybody.
No, it won't be that bad. It won't be that bad.
You've been doing this for 20 years.
You ready for one, or you ready for one, or you got one?
Crazy moving story. Other than getting pulled over and the cop drawing a gun.
And you hired him.
I hired him. No, what I'll share with you, this is actually kind of an embarrassing story for our company. It wasn't like an embarrassing customer. This was an employee. So we had this gentleman who worked for us, younger guy, had kind of a bit of a troubled growing up, troubled past, but a good guy, hard worker, a monster, big dude. One day he had a bit of a mental breakdown on a job not far from our office here, and he took the house hostage, right? So he literally said, he stormed, like, this is my house. get out. Like he went crazy, literally lost his marbles like on a job while we're moving somebody. This was a referral from one of our top realtors at the time we worked with. That realtor quickly was notified. I was notified. We rushed over there, tried to kind of talk him down. He runs out of the house, jumps into one of the other team members' cars that came over to assist, and takes off, steals his car, literally. Whoa. And so, oh yeah, it was wild. So needless to say, that was a free move that we provided to that customer, right? And then it was damage control. So for us, it was like, I mean, we do check-ins in the morning. You know, he didn't seem anything out of the ordinary, but you don't ever know what's going on inside somebody's head, right? And so instantly there was a Facebook post, look what's going on here, and the realtor put a video, and so it was a bit of a nightmare. But we jumped in. We kind of, did everything that we possibly could to make that situation better and just eat it, right? Like you just have to own it and get it figured out. And so we did, got him some help, eventually, and I don't, it is what it is. It's a sad story, but that was a phone call. Like you expect to get crazy stuff like, oh, I got in an accident, or something. No, this was, our mover has taken hostage the home that we're moving today and won't let anybody in, and like hunkered down and barricaded himself in the house. It was wild.
Bad PR can be good PR. I'm like thinking of all these good advertising spins where you just have like the video and then you like flash forward and be like, that was then, this is now. Like, we don't just move your home. We take your whole home hostage until you're ready to move in. Yeah.
I imagine they didn't train you for that at the self-storage place. That scenario.
No, that was an oh shit moment. Going in blind and just So very awkward when you're at the helm of the customer and they can't go inside their own home. So yeah.
All right, Steven, you're up.
Justin, I want you to look at the camera and tell, if you have one message to tell every moving company in Arizona who's not a part of the association, what do you want to tell them?
Man, come aboard, man. We need you. Like this is not about stealing secret sauce or who's the best or bragging or whatever. Like, what I've heard from people who don't join is we like to play alone. We don't like to play with others. Like, to be honest, that's bullshit. I can guarantee you, come give us a shot, meet some of the best movers in our state, and help us build the industry. There are some good companies out there. There's almost 400 registered movers in the state of Arizona. I would bet you about 100 of those are actual legitimate quality companies. So we need every single one of them with us for the journey. Like let's do it. So
nice. And then who was your favorite speaker at your event this week?
Man, there was this guy that came in.
Southern accent.
Yeah, Southern accent. No, it's either you, Steven, or Truckers Against Trafficking. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
exactly
that was strong. No. That was a strong. I learned a lot.
That was heavy. No, but honestly, man, you rocked it. I wanted just to come on and just, if nothing else, thank you for coming out and supporting. What I love most about you coming out, Steven, is that you didn't jump on stage and say, look at me, I'm Steven Reed, and this is what I do, and these are all the things that I sell. The first thing you did was No, which maybe he should have. The first thing he did was, not this time. No, he promoted every other organization and just pointed to the fact that these things didn't exist a few years ago, and now we've got ATA MSC, Moving Titans, Movified, Moving Army, Built to Move. IAM has the DAB. Like, he pointed out all these ways that you can get involved, all your state associations and different things, and how we work together. And that was just impressive to me that he instantly went on there and just kind of gave credit to everybody else, before he even got started. So
I appreciate the opportunity very much. So I enjoyed it. I'm very impressed at what you built over there and what you're doing for the industry behind the scenes. I know how busy you are. And I'm in awe of you. And any way I can support you, just let me know.
The feeling is mutual. And honestly, I feel like I'm happy to be connected here with you guys now a little bit more deeply. And looking forward to jumping into Movified and just being part of the Movified Nation and seeing how I can help out.
Man.
So
I love it. Thank you so much,
what
Justin.
I would love, and we'll talk about this in Nashville. Sorry. What I would love is you guys kind of educating us on what we're fighting for. So what
Yeah.
on the hill, when Derek's out there, how can we educate, the moving industry that's not so aware of that, of what we are lobbying for in the associations and stuff?
I think that's great because most independent movers don't really give a shit about legislation for moving. If we're being honest, right? Like most of the legislation that goes on is like, what does that do for the van line industry
100%.
and for military moving and stuff? What I like about where we've headed and what we're doing with the MSC is like bringing back our voice and fighting for things that help our independent movers, such as like the moving tax credit. That was one of the things that we fought for in Washington this past year with the call in Washington and the ATA MSC. Now, it's not like you just go there and tell them what you want and they just go, no problem, we'll do that for you. But you're getting these things on the plate, showing that it's important. And that's something that if we get a moving credit, like a moving tax credit, that helps everybody in this industry get busy, get the phone ringing, and make sure that people are contacting quality movers instead of trying to go cheap, right? So that's just one example, but 100%, that's things that we're trying to push with the MSC. What matters to independents and what can we fight for? So,
and I know we're talking a lot about the MSC, but for all those listeners and viewers, if you are not going out to Florida at the end of February, Stephen Reed and myself will be at the Moving Legends Retreat, hosted by Move It Pro. We're super excited. We're both speakers there. It's going to be a blast. We're in a house. Stephen will be on a lazy river. And I'm pretty excited to go. That's at the end of February. If you, I think they have day passes left.
Yeah.
If you're interested in going, so that should be lots of fun. They have a great lineup of speakers.
Have y'all seen that skit where that guy's on the dating show and she's like, "You've just been on the zip line all day"? Have y'all seen that skit where the guy keeps doing the zip line? And she's like, "You're on this dating show just for the zip line." That's me on the lazy river at the Legends Retreat. I'm just riding in that sucker. Y'all want to hear me? You got to walk with me. You got to get on the raft. Yeah.
But following up after the Moving Legends Retreat, for those that should be coming, go to Nashville. Movified will be set up in Nashville for the MSC event. I'm super stoked. It is March 15th to the 17th.
St. Patty's in Nashville. I can tell y'all from experience, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be so much fun. All three of us will be there. I'm super excited. I can't wait to sit down. Stephen talked about the legislations, things that are changing, what people, individuals like Derek Potter are doing. Well, guess what? When we are there, we'll be sitting down with these individuals. We are going to have some one-on-one podcast timing. Hopefully we'll do another panel interview. Last year it was explosive. It was so much fun.
Wade's going to be there too.
I was talking with Wade Sweikel from Two College Brothers, thank you, and Grow Your Moving podcast, and also Tighten Up Training. They are representing Tighten Up Training. Me and him were texting earlier just about the pure essence of training platforms and having this. Us three didn't have that. It was who has the most experienced mover, and that guy's going to train us, and then we can try and write this stuff down, and we can figure out how we pad up, what is a diaper wrap, and how are you wrapping up this, I had no idea. Like you, I didn't come from the moving industry either. I had no idea.
I'd be like, Gentle John, just put another training video out. Thank you.
My best thing was being
meathead movers. Way to go.
Oh yeah. I'll never forget probably my first week of doing like a job before I took over the moving industry. And I was like, man, all right, this job's done. We just
before
have this mirror.
He took over the moving industry. Did anybody just hear that?
took over the moving company.
You're not talking to ChatGPT, brother. We're gonna call you out on that. Yeah.
It's been talking to him, it sounds like.
Oh, I know. The truck was loaded, and I said, I just have this mirror left. And I took the mirror and just slid it over top of the mattress in this little 1-ton truck. And it was like, this is fine, no problem. Got to the other end, and that mirror had just shattered everywhere. Like, I had no idea. I was like, I don't know. I figured it was safe. Nope, not at all. So these guys are going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. Prob is going to be there also from You Move Me. It's his first time here in Nashville.
Two Canadians at our conference.
Two Canadians. I know, right? We
Justin's
are
writing
taking
that down.
over.
He's writing that down. He's like, oh, do we have to play Oh Canada too?
I know, right?
One more, and we're gonna have to. But Wade's gonna actually be working a speed mentoring table on training. I'm gonna work one with him on, well, not with him, but at the same time on claims handling, which I'm not sure I'm qualified, but I've had lots of claims, so I should be able to help.
Yeah. Talk about the hostage situation. Like, guys, I gotta tell you, you might have one. Learn from me.
That's
Speed
funny.
mentoring last year. I did one with Michelle, your HR person. We had a great time, taught a lot, and answered a lot of good questions. So don't miss that one.
They're awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
This has been great. Please subscribe. Please follow. Please hit that 5-star.
If you're still with us, why haven't you subscribed?
If you're exactly. This is what it's all about. And make sure that you guys all stay movified. You know, it's thank you guys so much for the follows, the listens, the comments. What was your best takeaway? Share it in the comment. What did you take away from Justin? If you want to learn, if you are a moving company in Arizona, I am talking to you, Stephen Mandek from Clutch Moving. Are you part of this association? Because you're in Tucson and should be part of it. So, Justin,
we're looking right at you. We know you're listening, Steve.
We know you're listening.
I got to spend some time with Austin. Austin was there too.
Right? Lucky day moving and storage.
Yeah,
we're
big shout out
Pearsons.
to moving Army to support, which was cool. So we'll make sure to give that back next year to him. So
love it. Shout out Austin. Love you, buddy. Let's go as we sign off. All right, man. All right. Thanks everybody, and see you next time. Thanks.